She doesn't just run, she arrives. With fire in her stride, color in her presence, and a confidence that refuses to whisper, Sha'Carri Richardson is the kind of athlete you don't just watch, you feel. Every race is a statement. Every step, personal. Born on March 25, 2000, in Dallas, Texas, Sha'Carri's story is rooted in resilience long before it touched fame. Raised primarily by her grandmother, Betty Hart, alongside her aunt, she grew up in a home where love was firm, protective, and deeply grounding. Her biological mother was largely absent throughout her early years, a silence that didn't break her, but built her. That absence became motivation. That pain, fuel. She wasn't surrounded by a widely publicized circle of siblings. Instead, her world was small but powerful, anchored by the women who raised her. Her grandmother, in particular, was everything: disciplinarian, motivator, protector, and believer. The kind of presence that doesn't just raise a child, but shapes a fighter. From a young age, Sha'Carri showed signs that she wasn't built for ordinary. When she stepped onto the track, it wasn't just about speed, it was about release. Control. Identity. At Carter High School in Dallas, she quickly became a standout, not just because she won races, but because of how she won them, with boldness, personality, and a confidence far beyond her years. She didn't blend in with the system, she challenged it. That same fearless energy followed her to Louisiana State University, where her talent went from promising to undeniable. In 2019, as a freshman, she shook the collegiate track world by running 10.75 seconds in the 100 meters at the NCAA championships, one of the fastest times ever recorded by a college athlete. It wasn't just a victory, it was a declaration. She wasn't coming, she had arrived. Turning professional in 2019, Sha'Carri instantly became one of the most electrifying figures in track and field. Her signature look, brightly colored hair, long nails, and unapologetic confidence, was more than style, it was identity. She brought individuality into a sport often defined by quiet discipline. She made people look twice, not just at her speed, but at her presence. Then came 2021, a year that tested her in ways no stopwatch could measure. After blazing through the U.S. Olympic trials and earning her spot at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, she stood at the edge of global superstardom. But behind the scenes, she was dealing with the emotional weight of losing her biological mother. In the middle of that grief, she tested positive for cannabis, a decision she openly acknowledged and took responsibility for. The result: suspension. Olympic dreams paused. The world reacted quickly: criticism, headlines, judgment, but very few paused to understand the human behind the athlete. That moment could have ended her story. But Sha'Carri doesn't fold under pressure, she evolves through it. The period that followed wasn't smooth. There were inconsistent performances, public scrutiny, and questions about whether she would ever reclaim her dominance. But growth isn't always loud, it's quiet, uncomfortable, and relentless. And she stayed in it. Then came 2023, and everything changed. At the World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Sha'Carri didn't just compete, she redeemed. She stormed to gold in the 100 meters, setting a championship record and reminding the world exactly who she is. That race wasn't just about speed, it was about comeback, resilience, and reclaiming her narrative. It was the kind of victory that doesn't just earn medals, it earns respect. Off the track, Sha'Carri's life is just as layered. She has been open about her identity and confirmed a same-sex relationship in 2021, choosing to live her truth in a world that often pressures athletes to stay silent. Her relationships have remained mostly private since then, but what stands out is her authenticity. She doesn't perform for acceptance. She lives on her own terms. She is not married and does not have children, focusing instead on her personal growth, healing, and career. And then there's her legacy, already unfolding, already powerful. Sha'Carri Richardson is not just a sprinter, she's a symbol of a new era. An era where athletes are allowed to be human, where strength includes vulnerability, where confidence doesn't require permission. She brought emotion, individuality, and boldness into a sport that often resists it. She made it okay to be loud, to be different, to be seen. Because in the end, she didn't just come back to win. She came back to remind the world. You can stumble, you can be doubted, you can even be counted out. But if you rise again with fire in your soul, you don't just return, you redefine the race.